Check, check. Check.
Switching your car insurance to Allstate. Well, let's say this is you. Hello. And this is you with $713. Which of these?
That water. Fine tools. Folks, welcome back. Today, I'm here to start working on some show prep. We've been keeping pretty busy lately. Um, since we came back from Michigan, a lot of my clients have been traveling, which means I'm actually traveling all over town so that I can help people take care of their collections while they are out of town. Honestly, it was just nice to finally get to be the one to leave for a little bit. Um, but right now, my days have a real early start, and yeah. So I got going about 6 a.m. this morning so that I could go visit a couple of private collections around here. And here in about, oh, an hour and a half, I've got to get moving again so I can keep it up. However, my local club show is officially 1 month out. That's going to be the Rocky Mountain Bonsai Society's show down at Denver Botanic Gardens the last weekend of August. This tree is going to be one of my entries. You might have seen it in some earlier videos. I've been putting a lot of work into it over the last year, and it's time to start getting ready for the show. Today's goal isn't weeding. Really, I need to start needle plucking. I want to wait until I have a shop vac so that I can show you guys how we use that to kind of come through and clean up this top layer of soil. So I am going to do light weeding today, but my real goal is going to be needle plucking. So I'm going to be coming through to all of the junctions of my pads and plucking needles about a ½ inch into each of those joints. The perk of this is that when we come through later and do that fine wiring, it'll be a lot easier to get that wire through there. And also it's going to look nicer when the needles don't get crushed by wire. Since this is going in a show, now's the time to really think about maximizing the work that we're doing. I'm also going to prune out some sad-looking foliage. But for the most part, it is too late in the year to be doing heavy pruning on spruce. So I actually did that earlier, kind of came through and pruned for ramification. And unless something is a particularly flawed shoot, I'm just going to go ahead and leave it so that it adds a sense of fullness as the tree's going into the show. Okay, actually scooch a bit. Turn this and actually do some of that light weeding. Sorry, just 1 second. I'm going to give myself something to listen to here. Beautiful. So, things are getting pretty stressful. I like to be real with y'all about that. With the wedding and moving, there's a lot of kind of putting an end to what was going on in Colorado going on, trying to make time for the people I've met here that really mean a lot to me, and trying to work as much as I can so that, I can actually do all those things. And I've been trying to also just pause and set up the camera when I have more than 45 minutes to visit my own trees so that we can keep you guys in the loop in what goes on, what goes into maintaining a collection. Now, if you've watched some of my other streams, you know that I like to keep old boxes just off screen to use as a trash can. I don't want to go through, any bags. One of the things I really appreciate about Bonsai is that it kind of invites us to reconnect with nature and be a little bit more responsible. Okay, it's not an invitation, it's a demand to be more responsible. But it's absolutely delightful. Now I'm gonna get these raspberries out of here. I have propagated quite a bit out, but I think anything that does go into the show, if I leave any of this, I want it to be nice and compact and not this monstrous leggy beast that it is at the moment. Okay, press that out. Those. Set these aside. so that I can propagate that. And unfortunately, the propagation is not too easy to set up and show you guys in these streams. I'm working in a little corner in the spare bedroom here, and it's hard to really sprawl out. But I have some rooting hormone, and I just kind of dip the rhizomes of the raspberry into that and leave it in water. Nothing too complicated. So I don't have a shop vac with me today, so I am gonna hold off on going through and sojiing. I did just want to kind of get all that pruned down so it's more reasonable though. And now I'm just gonna start here on this side and start plucking out my old needles, opening up the branches so that when that fine wire comes on in a little bit, we don't have to worry about crushing them. Just one moment. Sorry, I've got the chat up. I see there's a couple of you here with me. Hope you guys are having a good one. If you have anything to say, I'll be aware of it now. So in addition to the joints of branches, I'm coming through and plucking needles off the bottom of the branches. Just kind of looks cleaner and more organized on the final thing. Now we will follow up with the soji within the next week. And a big part of that is going to be making sure that we're not leaving any needles down in the soil of this, because that's a great way to invite a fungal infection. And that's also why I'm making sure to just kind of immediately toss them. I'm also keeping an eye out for any old scraggly looking needles. We want to make sure that what we leave doesn't look a little mangy. Oh yeah. Sorry, I know y'all can't see exactly what I'm doing over here. I'm hoping after the move it'll be easier to utilize the space. Unfortunately, I'm just in such a small apartment that I can't have a good camera coming from overhead, but I promise that's a priority for winter time. Oh, if you have any questions or want to chat, I do have my eye on the chat going on over there. But I'm just gonna enjoy what I'm working on over here. Now I'm trying not to just leave the new needles on the tree. I'd like to have last year's and this year's, but last year's are looking a little rough. So I think a good chunk of those are going to end up leaving off this tree. Okay. Now I'm going to take out some of that flawed growth. keep all that. So come back to this. Needles from the bottom. Now, one of the things I just absolutely love about working with spruce is it smells like the holidays no matter what when you're done. It's just delightful. Start tweaking some of my plaids as I come through, but I'm fully expecting to put more wire on before the show. But this spruce came to me by way of a friend of mine. She had collected it and just wasn't sure what to do with it. She actually ended up naming him Mr. Irredeemable. But I thought it was just kind of a fun, funky clump, even though having 4 trunks is a bit taboo. I decided to embrace it just because it's like such a squat thing. Um, and honestly, I'm pretty happy with the start we have. Sorry, let me get you a better angle on that. And as I come across ineffective wire, I'm just going to go ahead and get that out. And make it easier to come through when it's time. Okay. This whole shit's pretty neat. I might just go. It's probably gonna go. And that's okay. Keep plucking. Just that whole wire out. Yeah, so if you've been watching the channel, you might have seen the interview with Josh Stewart, good friend of mine, local club member. Just want to let you guys know that he's actually come out with a new podcast called Evidence in the Wild, and it's pretty cool. He is was he was a research doctor specifically for education, like at the national level, and he's kind of just sitting down with what he's learned and trying to make that information more accessible, hoping to help turn the tide a little on some policy decisions and looking at, okay, why did this work but that didn't? I should give it a check. Should give it a check. Should check it out. How do you say that? Words are hard. Um, I think he'd really appreciate it. And honestly, like, it's off to such a good start. So, one thing to be mindful of is I'm coming through and plucking needles. Or maybe this is the why of why I'm plucking needles, one of the whys at least, is that my buds are very unlikely to set in a spot that has no needles. I don't want to say it's impossible because it can happen, especially on a younger tree like this. But generally, we kind of control where needles are to sort of encourage conifers to set buds in those spots. So there's a little bit of thinking about, okay, down the road, where do I need a branch? And trying to make sure that we're encouraging the branch that currently exists to allow it. And the less option that it has, the more likely it's going to happen where we want it. But this also helps us to balance the energy of the tree. And when we're plucking for a show, we do it a little bit differently. Now, show more. Sorry about that. Was adjusting some settings on the stream. I got a notice that it wasn't quite going right. Yes. Oh, sorry for being vicious there, babe. So I'm still just plucking needles out of the joints of my branching and side branching so that I'm getting any buds there in the future. Also coming through, cleaning them off the bottom. And I'm likely to come through and clear them off the top, but there are some weaker spots on this tree, so I want to be mindful not to get too crazy with it. I'm going to be a little more conservative when I'm plucking needles off the top. Okay. That out. I think I'm just about done with this first trunk. Getting there at least. I see there's a couple people watching right now. Can I ask, have you guys put some trees in a show before? I know it can be a little daunting. That's good. So that looks good. It's got to come out. That's the inside of the curve. Just got this one interior section to deal with before I spin this around and let you guys see where this first trunk is at. Okay. Placement's better. A little more needle plucking. And this one's good. So, if you've ever looked at a spruce or a fir and wondered which is which, a really cool way to tell is if you pluck the needles, spruce will be able to roll through your fingers, but there's a certain like flat quality to fir that'll stop you from being able to. You can also look at the way the growth tips are, and it would be easier to understand if you could see them side by side. But on spruce, the needles that are there are going to come out in more or less like a perfect circle radiating away from the branch. But in fir, they tend to like all curve and arc around towards the sun. So it's almost like a W shape they make coming off the bottom of the branch. And I do just want to reiterate, because I see there are some new folks on the stream, that I'm being pretty minimal with my pruning right now because it's too late in the summer to come cutting back on this species. And that's okay. Just want to respect the tree, make sure that it's gonna survive, gonna thrive, and look great a month from now when it's time for that show. Um, now, obviously, I'm not going to be able to knock out all of the show prep in today's hour and a half, but I feel like we're making good progress with the goal of needle plucking. Probably be revisiting this one in future streams before the show. If you have any questions about what I'm up to, don't be afraid to use the chat. I do have my eye on it. And I'm just going to get this piece of wire up too. It's doing its job well. And honestly, I'm really looking forward to coming back and doing some fine wiring on this tree. It's going to be so tranquil. I'm going to set that aside. I've been grinding up a bunch of my copper scraps for some kintsugi projects. Seems a little less wasteful than sending it off to be melted down. That's another ineffective piece of wire. Where do you go to? Where do you go? Just kind of disappeared there. To there. Where's that? Oh, that was the wrong one. Okay. There. Oh yeah, both of those can come off. That's perfect. Have you folks been keeping busy with show prep? I was actually really grateful I got to go do some show prep for a client last week. And, I'm still early enough in my career that it's nice to just even get that permission. But I have been taking on more and more client work, and that has me really excited and hopeful for what this next stretch will entail. Because it's going to be really scary leaving my local club here when we move, actually a month after the show. I'm just going to check in with you guys. So this is the one where we were just removing a bunch of needles, particularly in the junctions and off the bottom. We were also taking out some ineffective wire. And I'm going to move on to this back trunk, just because it's right here in my face. Oh, reposition that, let you guys actually see it. Okay. I'm inclined to say that those branches are just going to well, that feels better. So, does that makes you my low branch? My low back branch? Yeah, it was really exciting getting to go back last week, and I worked on a big old ponderosa. I'm honestly not scared that I'm going to have time to do all my own show prep. I actually have 2 stands I need to finish making. And I need to come through and I want to have everything more or less ready to go in about 2 weeks so that we can just moss, let that grow in and settle before the show. But I feel like between this one and the other display I'm doing, I have my work cut out for me with all the travel my watering clients are doing at the moment. So shut that. And I'm still just back here needle plucking. Tweaking my pads a little bit as I go, kind of repositioning branches to where they need to be. I'm deciding what of my wire can't let other people see. That's one of the things that is just kind of constantly amazing me with Bonsai is I feel like every time I sit down and wire, I'm like, oh, this is better than last time. and wouldn't think it takes so much practice. I'm glad I had the opportunity to grind out wiring. And removing other people's wire, because that is actually, I think, one of the biggest ways I got to learn, because it really let me kind of go hands-on and look at what was or wasn't effective in the way wire was done. Because sometimes somebody does something and you never would have thought of that weird approach, and it works. Or you see, oh, they did this and that branch just did not set at all. Or the movement just looks wrong with the way it's wrapped, or okay, that's a good fork. Have this one here. Take that out and that out. More needle plucking. And I'm still going about a 1/2 inch into my side branches, removing all the needles. Then I'm coming through and removing all the needles off the bottom of my shoots. Once I have an idea of what it looks like when that's done, and any damaged stuff has been removed, I might remove more needles off the top so that it's easier to get that fine wire in there, but honestly, I'm probably gonna not do that with an 18 gauge wire. It's pretty easy to kind of thread it through the spruce needles once you have an idea of how that motion goes. Okay, I'm gonna run to the restroom real quick. See you guys in just a moment.
It's Tool Drop Tuesday at Rainy Bonsai. Every Tuesday, we're adding new tools to help you grow your bonsai practice. To kick things off, enjoy 10% off all tools and wire this week only with code Thanks for Watching at checkout. Whether you're just starting out or refining your collection, now's the time to upgrade your kit. Check back weekly. New tools are going to drop every Tuesday through the end of summer. Let's shape something beautiful together.
right, thank you for your patience. I'm back. Yeah, so it was a little tongue-in-cheek, but I was saying earlier that my friend had named this tree Mr. Irredeemable before she gave it to me. So one of the first, I guess, fundamental approaches I took to it was changing the gender of the tree or re-evaluating the gender, because I think she was wanting to treat it like a big chunky boy, right? And that is not at all what this slender feminine trunk is. But me being who I am, uh, I thought it'd be fun to kind of play with the gender. So you may notice I've got this big old crotch of a gin here on my pretty girl. Because, yeah, it's 2025 and trees are allowed to have confusing gender. That's a-okay. But I got it into this nice now takutake pot this past spring. And I know it's pretty high up in the pot, percent of its roots. And spruce can get by without roots, but I wanted to leave a chunk of that field soil untouched. So I'm going to be revisiting it periodically to kind of shorten it to the pot. But I think there's going to be a bit of a nice process of letting them grow into each other. This is just where we're starting. Oh man. Did that trans joke make everybody leave? That's awesome. Didn't want y'all watching my channel anyways. Just checking in with you guys. I've got about another half hour before I've got to get moving and start my afternoon bout of watering. I have 3 collections that I've got to go visit this afternoon. And then, it's come home and pack and wedding planning and some video editing. So I am hoping that either tomorrow or Thursday we'll be able to follow up, finish the needle plucking on this tree, and then this weekend we'll sit down and do the soji. One of the nice things about bonsai is we can visit it in short spurts, as long as we're staying on top of the work we gotta get done. And I'm lucky enough that I kind of get to deal with trees all day long, so it's okay if I don't get to devote hours and hours to my own trees every day. Even if I wish I could. One thing I'm excited for, though, is with the move. Actually, my mother-in-law has a basement, which solves the where will my trees survive winter dilemma. But it also solves the where am I supposed to record through winter dilemma. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's going to be a step up in terms of studio space, for sure, which will allow for some better camera angles for you guys. But for now, we're just kind of stuck with what my little apartment allows. That's, nope, missed a couple needles there. Ooh, I hope I don't lose that shoot. I need that shoot. I'm gonna reposition you so you'll get better light. Fill in this weird blank spot. Back. Now, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to chat with you. No, not lots of people work with spruce, but I know if you're from the Rocky Mountain region, you probably worked with them quite a bit. We really love them around here. Kind of have the impression that that's not the norm, and that's okay. But I feel like spruce are one of the ones I definitely more comfortable with, especially with my teacher. I sort of feel like I've done endless spruce over the last couple years, and that is delightful in my book. Because those little needle oils just smell like Christmas. It's delightful. It's hard to have a bad day when your hands smell like Christmas. Okay. Sorry, I found some ineffective wire. I've got to get out of here. And I'm still plugging those needles about a ½ inch into the junction of my side branches. That's so that we don't get any shoots developing or any buds developing in those spots. Doing some light editing. But really, I want this to be nice and full, and it's way too late in the summer for me to be doing any heavy pruning on this spruce. We're more thinking about how to maximize the silhouette, make it look as nice and pretty as we can, than we are thinking about what needs to go and what needs to be pruned for bifurcation. This late in the year, I'm not going to get another push of growth, and that is a-okay. But there are some really weak shoots in this area. So some of those are going to go, especially if they haven't pushed in the last year or two. And here's one. I'll see if I can bring this a little closer to the camera. Deal with the webcam in a minute. So if you look at the actual branch itself here, it's almost like shriveled looking, and when we look at the end of that, we can see that at some point there was a bud, but it just kind of failed and desiccated. There's a very low chance that this is going to set any viable buds, so I'm just going to take the whole branch out there, or side branch, shoot, whatever we call it. It's one of those things where there's just no reason to waste the energy. Oh, better reposition that base cam, that's right. Oh. There we go. Sorry about that, folks. Joys of recording in a tiny room. That definitely goes. That goes. One thing to be mindful of is that with spruce, well, most species, but spruce are really sensitive about it. If branches are oriented too far down, they're just going to decline and fail. So up here in the crown of this one, I can see that at some point this area must have maybe hit the fence behind it or got jostled. And so the crown of this got kind of squished and messed up, so trying to fix it back here. roughly repositioned where it needs to be. I'm gonna go back to needle plugging. Okay, I'll spin this around, let you guys have a little peek of where we're at so far. Goodness. Needle plucking is endless on these things. So when I finish up with this trunk, I am going to have to pause and or stop for the day so that I can go visit my watering clients. We're about halfway done with the needle plucking and removing of ineffective wire from this tree. Some point in the next day or two, we'll finish up on another stream, and then this weekend, we'll go over how to soji. So if that's interesting to you, please hit the subscribe button. I would love for you to be a part of the follow-up. Darn. Didn't want to lose that wire, but ineffective. So this was done in a way where it was giving me some seesaw action. I'm just getting this wire out. This piece out. It's also given some seesaw. Okay, and if you're still watching the stream, I'd love to let you know that I actually have released some bonsai tools on my website. There's a link in the description, but if you are in need of a tool, decide you want to get something this week, use code Thanks for Watching at checkout for 10% off. I'd really just appreciate the support that you guys have been showing in this endeavor. I'm going to be releasing more tools in the future. The idea is to get a few more up every Tuesday prior to the move. For now, it's just some of the basics, as well as some of the stuff that you viewers had reached out to me asking how to track down. This isn't from Amazon. This supports American business owners like myself and the great folks at Joshua Roth Tools. Not that you can't buy your bonsai stuff off Amazon, but point is you don't have to anymore. Your borderline. I'll keep you for now. I feel like you have to go, though. Definitely gotta go. That's okay. Oops. Bounce around like that, sweetheart. It's okay. All right, and I'm gonna spin this around just so you guys kind of see where we're at our stopping point for today. So far, we have removed some wire off of these 2 of 4 trunks. We've also been doing needle plucking and some light editing of the available shoots. Either tomorrow or Thursday, we'll have a follow-up stream here where we continue on with the needle plucking, and over the weekend, there will be another stream where we start to soji. Sometimes next week, I hope to be able to sit down and tackle the wiring, but that might just be in small spurts when I have the time. I'm gonna take this sweetheart outside, water her, and then I need to get moving and start watering other people's bonsai trees. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you have a great one.